Hello, it is show time. I love how this streaming device tells me that it is show time. Woohoo! Hello, David. Hi. Oh, Marsha. Hello. Tammy. Hello. You guys are all on my Instagram. This is awesome. So I should let you know. Hello. I'm so excited. I am doing a live, David. I'm doing a live every single Thursday at this time, and I'm going to be sharing HR tips and tricks, and I'm super, super, super excited. Right now, I have two devices on, and the reason for that is because Instagram, I'm using a streaming platform, and Instagram does not connect with that streaming platform. So I'm using two different platforms. Instagram, I'll be looking at you every once in a while over there. Thinking Nova, hi, nice to see you. And then I will also be on looking at my other device where I am streaming through Facebook and YouTube and Twitter. So I'm very, very excited about this. This is my first live of maybe show some of your fancy dance moves too. Oh yeah, woo! Okay, no, we're not getting into dance moves. I'm gonna try and be serious, but I am going to have a little bit of fun doing this as well. So if you've just joined me, I'm just letting you know that I'm going to be looking at two devices here. What we're going to be talking about today is I'm going to talk a little bit about my journey as junior HR professional and how I stumbled with my way through HR before I became the expert that I am today, the wizard that I am today, let me rephrase. And then we're going to talk about hiring strategies, because I think this is often overlooked when it comes to the hiring stage. And that has been what I have been talking about over the past week on my social media. So why don't we just get started? Okay, another little disclaimer. I am the videographer, I am the speaker, and I'm the producer. So I'm going to have a lot going on while we're doing this. So bear with me. And feel free to leave comments at any time, and I will try to showcase them. If you want to be a part of this and you want your comments to come up on the screen and you want to be a little bit more interactive, and if you want to see what I'm doing on the screen, hop on over to Twitter, Key HR Services Twitter account, and it's spelled KIY, or to Facebook under Wonderful Wizard of HR, or to YouTube under Wonderful Wizard of HR. So I have a whole bunch of fancy things that are happening on the streaming platform that are unfortunately not happening on Instagram. So if you want to hop over there, then you can see a lot more of the other exciting things that happen. So what I'm going to do right now is get us started. Let's get going. Okay, for those of you who are watching on the streaming platform, you got to let me know what you thought of that intro. And if any of you, I'm going to be posting this after the live. So if any of you are watching this as a replay, please hashtag replay so that I know that you are watching this later. All right, so let's get started. Okay, first, before I start getting into me, I want to know a little bit about you. Where are you watching from? Oh, did you hear the music, David? That's awesome. I'm glad you could hear it because it's on the other screen. And if you were on Facebook or YouTube, you would have seen just a cool little intro. But you're not, so you missed it, but at least you got to hear the music. So that's pretty awesome. So anyways, let me know where you are viewing from in the comments, and I'll share, because I think I have a few fans in the UK, which is pretty fun. And I think it's pretty late there right now. There are a few who I think it's 10 o'clock for them. So thanks for tuning in. Okay, so while I'm waiting for the comments to come in, I am just going to get started on the first topic. So the first topic today is a little bit about my junior HR journey. So if you know me right now, oh, David is in Bowmanville, Ontario, Canada. That's awesome. Hi. Oh, and Thinking Nova is based in Spain. Oh my gosh, my sister, my mom, and I were in Spain last year, and we had such an amazing time. It was so beautiful. So the from Canada, we've got some Canada, we've got St. Albert. What else? Who else do we have here? Hi, I have a friend of mine who's watching, who's just down the street. So if you didn't tune in before, I'm coming in from Alberta, Canada. So I have a friend who's just down the street from me, and another one from St. Albert, Alberta, Canada as well. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for sharing where you're from. I love that we can connect from all over the world. It is super exciting, super, super exciting. All right, so one thing you'll notice in the ticker at the bottom, for those of you who are watching on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, there's a little ticker that's going across the bottom of the screen. The Complete HR Blueprint is a program that I'm starting on November 23rd for non-HR professionals in a small business or junior HR professionals who are really struggling to navigate through HR. This is an all-encompassing, all-in-one program. So if you want to know more about that, you can drop a comment, send me a PM, and we can talk a little bit more about that. All right, so let's first talk about a little bit about my history. I was starting to do that, and then I saw all the comments come in about where everybody was from. So I was very excited about that. Oh, look at that. We have Jennifer Doucette. She is from Wiser Plumbing. She's here as well. Hi there, Jennifer. I just put your comment up on the screen. And again, for any of those of you who are joining me, I'm split screening right now. I am looking at a platform on 3 different social media platforms, and then I'm looking at Instagram on a separate device. All right, we're going to get right into these topics. So before I became an HR wizard, I was a junior HR professional. I actually came from the legal world, and I landed this job in HR, and I absolutely loved it, but I was so green and so new, and I stumbled my way through. I didn't have a whole lot of confidence. I spent countless and countless of hours trying to navigate through this. Oh, hello. I just have to keep saying hi to everybody. I love it. I love it. Hi, Jade. So nice to see you. And there, I'm just going to say hi, Wizard. Big fan. I won't be as distracted as we do this more often every week when I do this. Hopefully I won't be as distracted, but I'm just having so much fun with all of this. Anyways, back to what I experienced as a junior HR. Oh my gosh, I really truly fumbled through trying to figure out. And I really wanted to impress my bosses. I wanted to show the supervisors and managers that I could do this job. And I was a real people person. So I thought, how hard could it be? It was very difficult. And when I first started over 22 years ago, we didn't have the YouTubes and the Googles and all the wonderful things that we could do where we could just type something in and hope that, I had to get books and I had to get an education and learn about HR, but I also had to fail. And I failed sometimes quite miserably. And, in hindsight, if I had have had the knowledge that I do today, I would have had more confidence. I mean, there were nights that I literally lost sleep over having to have a difficult conversation with an employee. And anybody who knows me today would probably call bullshit. They probably say, there's no way you weren't confident. But I wasn't. I was very nervous. I lost sleep over it. And I would have to go into this room and have this conversation with this employee. And, I just would basically throw up in my mouth. But as time went on, and I learned and experienced HR and all the intricacies of it, and when I got very confident with the law and where I needed to go and who I needed to talk to, I realized, and as I learned how to deal with different personalities, I started to realize that this isn't as hard as I originally thought it was, and it wouldn't have been as hard if I had somebody who could have helped me navigate through those intricacies of HR. So that's what the Complete HR Blueprint is all about. It's to help those small business owners who are fumbling like I did as a junior professional, or junior professionals, junior HR professionals who are doing the same thing. I mean, they're fresh grads and they're out there and they're trying to do the work, but they just wish they had an all-in-one resource. That's what this program is about. It's an 8-week program. I'm super, super excited about it. The prototype is starting at the end of this month, the week of November 23rd. And I just can't wait to share my expertise and knowledge about this. Okay, speaking of expertise and knowledge, we are going to get into the topic that I've been posting about for this week, and that's the hiring strategy. The hiring strategy. So what exactly is a hiring strategy and why do you need it? The hiring strategy sets the company up for success. You want to ensure that when you're bringing somebody on board, that you are doing it right from the beginning. This is basically like the first date, right? So you don't want to go into it not prepared. You don't want to go into it looking like a slob and fumbling all over everything. You want to be prepared. So the hiring strategy, once you prepare one, you're going to do a lot better as a business owner and a hirer. So the first thing that you're going to have in a hiring strategy is the purpose. Now that kind of seems like, well, the purpose of a hiring strategy is to put together a strategy, right? But when you start getting bigger, so if you're just a small company right now of only a few individuals and you know that you're going to be growing, as you grow, you're going to have other people in your company who are going to take on the hiring manager position. You're going to have them take on roles where they are now the ones responsible for the recruitment and the hiring. So what you want to do is make sure that they understand what the purpose is of the hiring. The message has to be straight across the board. And then the next thing, number 2, as part of the, you know what, I'm just going to ask you guys, am I going at a good pace? Just give me a thumbs up, or do you have any questions? I know I just kind of raced right into the hiring strategies. Do you have any comments about what you've experienced maybe in human resources or what you've seen in the past? Would you like to share? Or any questions or any comments on even what great pace. Okay, Nurse Minder says it's a great pace. So I'm really happy to hear about that. I don't want to lose your interest, but I also don't want to go too fast where you may not be able to understand exactly where I'm going from. So I appreciate that. I'm glad I'm glad. Oh, and I got a thumbs up from Hippie Chick. So thank you very much for that. We are going to go on to the next topic. So the second thing of a hiring strategy is the scope. And so the scope is going to talk a little bit about what your strategy looks like. This is really important because there are so many different facets within a hiring strategy. Oh, thank you, David. He says I'm doing good. That's so great. Great to hear. Woohoo! All righty. So within the scope, you want to talk about if you're large enough to have a hiring committee, you want to put that in your scope, that you plan on having a hiring committee. If you're large enough to forecast for the following or for the upcoming year on who you're going to be, how many positions you're going to be hiring and what positions you're going to be hiring, you want to put in the scope that you are prepared to forecast. Super, super important when you're building your hiring strategy. If you are not big enough to put that in your scope, you still want to make sure you know who is responsible for hiring within your company. If there are 7 of you in your company and you're very small, there's still going to be 1 or 2 different people that are involved in hiring, and you may even have an outside source that's also involved. You want to put that in your hiring strategy. All right. Any questions so far? Nope. Looks like we're doing very well. Again, if you're watching the replay here, please just give me a hashtag replay and let me know that you have tuned in a little later on. Oh, I see that Careers Calendar has joined. Hello. Please drop in the comments where you're from. You are on Instagram, so you can't see the entire platform that I'm on because Instagram is separate, but I'm talking to you and I'm talking to the platform. All right, on to the next thing you want to do in a hiring strategy. You want to put together your recruitment process. And there's quite a bit to a recruitment process. The very first thing you need to do is you need to review and revise or create. If you haven't created one yet, you need to create your position description, because that's what you're going to give the employee once they are provided, once they're hired, or once you give them an offer. And you want to create a position profile. What's the difference? The profile is just the outline that you're going to put out to the world. The position description is the more detailed profile, very more detailed position expectations. So you'll want to put that in there. You want to list your methods of advertising. So if you are in a certain type of industry, you're going to have different hiring methods than any other industry. For instance, if you are here in Canada, if you you're hiring for an accountant, you want to make sure that you are hiring. You're looking at the Chartered Professional Accountants Association to make sure that they have a job posting platform. Or if you're in a certain part of the world where you use Indeed, use Indeed. Try to use as many free things as you can in the beginning. So in your hiring strategy, you are going to have a list of your first attempts for the first 3 weeks. And then your next attempt, you're going to have another list. And so the first attempts are usually your free attempts, social media platforms, free job search engines, associations that you're a part of, that kind of thing. And then the next piece will be, the second effort will be more of a cost. All right, we have a new joiner, WP Employment, Efrat. Very nice to see you. Thank you for joining. Okay, on to number 4, the hiring process. So the hiring process is really key. Oh, you know what? I kind of skipped over a few things here. Back to the recruitment process, and just if you're just joining, I know that I'm repeating this for a few people who are still on with me, but I have two devices on at the same time, and the one device actually shoots out to 3 different platforms, and there's a lot going on. I'm the videographer, I am the producer, and I'm the speaker, so I'm trying to navigate through everything. So if I mess up a little bit, that's probably why. And it's also my first official live, so there's going to be some tweaking that I'll probably have to do. Okay, so let's go back to the recruitment process. You have, I've already talked about and one more thing, I do have some notes that I am glancing at every once in a while to make sure that I don't miss anything, because I want you to get the best information you can while watching this live. Okay, so some of the other things that you're going to put into your recruitment process are what you're going to do with unsolicited resumes. So when I talk about an unsolicited resume, that's one that has come to you from just without you posting a job. So you need to talk with whoever has the responsibility for hiring. You want to make a plan on what you're going to do with those unsolicited resumes. I would say keep them 3 to 6 months and refer back to them when you do have a position available and look through, see if there are any possible candidates. And if there aren't any, I would clean them out every 3 to 6 months or so. And then what you want to do is and this is just like a bullet form type of strategy that you're making. So number 4 is you're going to say who's going to be responsible for entering all the applicants into an applicant tracking database. So when you're a small company, you may not be able to afford to buy those big applicant tracking, recruitment, HRIS systems, human resources information systems. So you just use an Excel spreadsheet. Honestly, it's super easy. You just put in who the applicant is, where they came from, if you screened them or if you didn't, but keep really good notes for a lot of reasons. One of them is if they keep applying and you've already gone through the process with them, you can quickly search that up. So there's a lot of reasons why you should do applicant tracking. That's just one of them. Simple, very, very easy to do. And if you do end up joining my complete HR Blueprint program, the great thing about that is you have access to all of these templates, as well as access to me to ask me any questions you need at any time. All right. So continuing on with the recruitment process, you want to talk about what you're going to do when you've shortlisted a candidate. What's the next step? Well, when you shortlist a candidate, this is the very first stage of shortlisting. So once you've screened them, all the resumes that have come your way, you're listing them, but that's not the final shortlist. It's just to determine who you're going to pre-screen. So you want to talk about what you're going to do next with the pre-screen. Next with your recruitment process, which is the pre-screening process. Your preliminary screening is basically going to take out all the deal breakers within recruitment. I really fumbled over those words. Oh my gosh, I'm just laughing at myself right now. The deal breakers are the things that your company absolutely has to have. And it could be something as simple as a wage expectation. If somebody is expecting $50 an hour and you're only able to pay $15 an hour, then you know there's a gap and that's a deal breaker. That's what you ask in a pre-screen. Another thing about pre-screening, if you do pre-access drug testing, you want to make sure that the individual can pass the drug test before going on to a secure work site. Those kind of things. Can they legally work in your country? There's a whole bunch of different deal breaker questions that you want to ask. So in your hiring strategy, it's just going to be basic, saying you will follow a preliminary screening step. And then your next step would be to when you're going to send out regret messages. At what point are you going to send out regret messages? Are they going to be after the preliminary screening, or are they going to be after the interview? You're going to decide that in a hiring strategy. And when you take my course, I will walk you through that even further on how to really get into that. I see I have some likes and some hearts on both platforms. So thank you very much for the love, everybody. Oh, and I see I have a comment. I'm sorry that I missed it. Oh, Nurse Minder. Okay, for those of you who can't see it on Instagram, Nurse Minder says she loves my authenticity. It makes HR friendly. Oh, I love it. I love it. Thank you very much. That makes me very happy. I'm really enjoying this, actually. There's a lot of interaction going on here. So I really appreciate everybody, commenting on this, on both of these platforms. I appreciate you sticking around and watching my live. Okay, let's continue on. So the last couple of steps of the recruitment process are making sure, knowing exactly when you're going to check references. Are you going to check them before the interview? Are you going to check them after the interview? I have some tips on there, and I do have my own personal preferences. I like to do them after the interview because checking references actually is quite time consuming, but they are super important. So I believe that once you've narrowed it down even further to your last few candidates that you're interested in hiring, that's when you should be doing the reference checks. But you're going to put that in your process, in your recruitment process. Oh, I should go back to recruitment process. There we go. And the next thing you want to do is also send out regrets to the individuals that you have been interviewing. Okay. All right. On to step 4 of the hiring strategy, and that is your hiring process. This is the point where you have checked all the references, you've done all the interviews, and you've shortlisted down to one individual. And you are super excited because this is exactly the right person you know for sure is going to fit in your culture because you did everything right. You followed your process and this strategy to a T. You get to the hiring process, you want to make sure that what you do in your company when it comes to hiring an employee is consistent with every employee. And you want to make that employee feel like this is going to be a wonderful place for you to work. So within that process, you're going to indicate who is responsible for contacting the individual and letting them know that they have been the successful candidate. You're also going to determine who is actually going to be the individual who presents the offer, who's going to sit down and go through the offer all together with the new hire, and then who is going to do the welcome for the onboarding. That you really want to make sure that you have the right information in there and everybody knows who's responsible for what. All right, last but not least, how are we doing for time here? Oh my gosh, we're only half an hour in. I thought for sure this was going to take much longer. Well, hopefully we'll have some questions later. All right, when it comes to document control, document control is something that you want to have in your hiring strategy because you want to follow exactly what you should be doing every year when it comes to your documents. Now, there's a couple of different things that you need to do when it comes to documentation. I already talked about the applicant tracking sheet. So in document control, that's where you can write what exactly you do with what you're going to put in your applicant tracking sheet, who's going to manage it. But there are a couple other documents that you need to have when you're hiring. One is a forecast, a headcount forecast, and the other one is a headcount count. So your headcount count is to help you determine what your turnover looks like. Turnover should be tracked every year to make sure you are, it's just going to help you understand if you are engaging and motivating your employees properly. And if you're not, then there may have to be a culture shift. There may have to be a process shift. There are a few different things that you might have to do. So you definitely want to make sure that you're counting your head count, keeping track of that, and knowing which department has the most turnover and then determining why. Your headcount forecast is just like accounting. The year prior, you're going to have in accounting, you're going to look at your actuals and you're going to take that information and you are going to forecast what you're going to budget for the next year. The same thing goes with your employees. You're going to look at what you've done in the past, how many people left naturally, they just went on maybe to a different career, they resigned, they retired. You're going to keep track of all that, and then you're going to plan for that same thing to happen the next year. Obviously with better processes and hopefully not any bad blood exits, just natural attrition. And you're going to forecast those, and you're also going to forecast your growth. So if you think that your company is going to grow by 10%, most likely your employees are going to grow by 10% as well. And you have to determine where in the spectrum you're going to have these employees, what part of your organization is going to need more employees. Probably in a production area, but it could be an administrative area, depending on your industry and what you do, what you provide to people. So the document, the forecast is another document that you want to have. And in document control, you're just basically in your hiring strategy, you are putting together everything that, every document that you need and how often you're going to review them. So when it comes to the headcount forecast, personally, I like to review that every month with a bit of a larger company, 50 to 100 employees. I like to look at that every month and make sure we're still on target for those positions to be hired. When you're a smaller company, 10 to 50, even 2 to 50 employees, you might be able to get away with every quarter just revisiting and making sure that your forecast is still on target. That's what you're going to put in your hiring strategy. This is how often we are going to visit the hiring or the forecasting. With respect to headcount, I say annually, you're going to be looking at your turnover. So annually, that's when you're going to be reviewing the headcount, but monthly, you're going to be changing those numbers. How many people left? How many people resigned? How many people were terminated from employment? How many for cause? How many not for cause? How many people retired? All of that stuff. So in your head count, those are the kind of things that you're going to be keeping track of so that you know what your turnover looks like in the in the future, at the end of the year. And you can do it by fiscal year or calendar year. It's totally up to you. Usually it's best to review all your documentation and review how you've been doing the previous year during the slow times of your work. Also in your hiring strategy, under the document control section, you want to state what you're going to do with unsolicited resumes. We talked a little bit about that in the beginning, that, how you're going to deal with unsolicited resumes. In document control, that's where you put how long you're going to hold your unsolicited resumes for, and then what you're going to do with them when they're done. And then also what you're going to do with unsuccessful candidates. So what you're going to do with all the resumes that come through that you've shortlisted out, you want to put those. I guess I should just stop for a second. I see that we have some new joiners, so I just want to say hello. Feel free to comment. Let me know when you joined in, where you're joining from. And also feel free to ask any questions to slow me down. If any of this is unclear, go ahead and comment. I have I still have lots of time here. We can always cut it short, but don't be shy. We do have a comment. Hello, FFS71. Where are you joining us from? Looks like you are on Twitter. Very nice to see you. Thank you so much for joining. Okay, so we will continue on. And for anybody who is watching this video as a replay, please give me a #replay. Thank you so much. All right, back to document control. So I was just saying with your resumes, when you get them in and you shortlist people, you want to make sure that you just shortlist them and then do something with those resumes. I say hang on to them for a little while, put them in a folder and in a no pile. And your applicant tracking sheet is going to state why you said no, because you definitely don't want to be screening anybody out that for a reason that is protected under a protected ground. Okay, so you need to make sure that the reason you're screening them out is a valid reason. Okay, so you want to keep track of all of that. You also want to put in your hiring strategy where the offer letters are going to go. The offer letters should go in the employee's personnel file. And you also want to say what you're going to do with those offer letters once they are signed. What are you going to do with them? You're going to make sure everybody signed off on it. Everything in there makes sense. And then you're going to make sure that you give a copy to the employee. Always give a copy to the employee, and then keep a copy or the original in the employee's file in a locked cabinet, preferably fireproof. And yeah, it's accessible to you as you go. So there you go. There is the hiring strategy. That is what it is all about. Oh, and we have another. You are in London. Wow. We have another one in London. Now, would that be London, Ontario or London, England? Very exciting. I love that everybody is from all over the world. This is just, I'm going to look forward to doing this every Thursday. I am really having so much fun here. And for those of you still on Instagram, as I mentioned, if you want to see all the fun activity that's happening on the live stream with the ticker at the bottom of the screen and the comments popping up, next time you can head over to Facebook or YouTube or Twitter, And you'll be able to see all the fun stuff that's up there. I even have an overlay, which I like it. Hey, I would like to know, all of you who are still watching, and I see that we have people from everywhere. We have people from Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, which is super awesome. What do you think of the layout that I have on the screen? Do you like this ticker that is going across the bottom of the screen talking about the complete HR blueprint? Or is it a little bit distracting? My other question is, what about the little wonderful wizard of HR at the top of the screen and the key HR services? The wonderful wizard of HR, I should let, for any of you who are not my usual followers, I should let you know that the wonderful wizard of HR is my tag name, I guess, for lack of a better term. And Key HR Services is my HR consulting company that I've had for the past over 8 years. And I've loved it. It's great. It's going through a transition right now. For those of you who don't know, I spent the past 8 years doing one-to-one consulting. And I still do one-to-one consulting, but I am transitioning to an online platform where everybody can get everything they need to truly be able to do HR with confidence and the knowledge they need. And they will have access to templates. They will have access to me. They will be in a group community so that they can talk to so many other people who are trying to navigate through HR and ask them quick questions. There will be links to so many different legislative connections and like human rights, employment standards. There'll be links to other advisors and, for instance, for benefits, suggestions on who to use. Yeah, it's great. And plus, on top of all that, there's an 8-week program that you get to go through. And just like this hiring strategy that I shared about today, in the course, we dig even deeper. You'll get a chance to see the template. You will use the template. You will build that with my guidance so that you can have a fantastic hiring strategy. And this hiring strategy will just put you in the next level of hiring great employees. Once you have this strategy and you follow it, you will be beyond so many other business owners who do not have one. And I'm talking not just small businesses, I'm talking medium-sized and large businesses. There are global businesses that aren't using this. And it's something that absolutely should be implemented before you even start hiring. For sure, for sure. Okay, well, I guess we can, I'm super, super happy with this. This entire, my goodness, this entire live has been quite an experience. I didn't know how it was going to turn out. I was a little bit nervous. It was, it was a little bit scary in the beginning, but I love the interaction. I love what everybody has had to say. I love that everyone is joining from so many different places. And I really hope that today you learned something great. And as I've said many times since the beginning, if you are watching this as a replay, please give me a hashtag replay so that I can interact with you as well on whichever social media platform you are on. Okay, well, I think I'm going to cut it short. We are 16 minutes early, but it looks like I'm done. So I'm sure you guys are too. Okay, well, have yourself a fantastic rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you're joining me from. And we will see you next Thursday 3 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. Can't wait to see you again. Bye for now. Oh, I don't know how to end myself. Oh, there we go. End broadcast. See you later, everybody.